Hey everybody, it's Maxine Taylor, and I am here on my Trumpology report with a show entitled Stormy Part 2. And the reason that I have Part 2 to share with you is because of two dear ladies. First of all, I want to thank Vivian Capuccio for contacting me and telling me that she had seen on Twitter that Stormy had given out her birth time of 1:10 a.m. I was so grateful to her, and I still am. I'm also grateful to Stephanie Weiss, who is the person who asked Stormy for her birth time so that she could cast her chart. These two dear ladies have allowed us to look at Stormy Daniels' chart. Now, for those of you who may not have her birth data, let me give it to you now. It's March 17th, 1979, 1:10 a.m., Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And for those of you who do not have her chart, don't you worry. We're going to talk about it right now. And, okay, this is Stormy's chart, and I'm going to go through it step by step, planet by planet. For those of you who understand astrology, this is not news to you. For those of you who do not study astrology, this is going to be very interesting, I think. I hope. Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to start here at the 10th house. The 10th house is our public image. It's what the world sees of us. Now, I didn't write it here, but Stormy has a Libra ascendant. Midheaven. I'm already ahead of myself. Can you tell? My mind moves faster than my mouth can keep up. Okay, Libra ascendant can be very charming, deals with partnership, diplomacy, and she has been, in many of her interviews, quite charming. Now, that's not the part I'm really talking about until later when I show you what that midheaven triggers in Trump's chart, what her public image triggers in his chart. But let's get moving. She has Pluto in Libra, 18 Libra. In her 10th house, Pluto is the planet of control or transformation. Any of you who have Pluto in your 10th house, you know that you like to be in control of your career, in control of your public image, and that you come across as a very powerful person. There is, I have always said that, in my opinion, Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto and co-ruled by Mars, is the most powerful sign in the zodiac because it's all or nothing. Well, Pluto in Stormy's 10th house of her public image is all or nothing. Let me also throw in the obvious that Pluto, ruler of Scorpio, ruler of the 8th house, is traditionally involved with sex, though it doesn't mean that your sweet grandma who has Pluto in her 10th house has a career involving sex. But it can be involved because it deals with secrets, the hidden. And with Pluto in her 10th house, she is going to make them public. And boy, has she. So, all or nothing. And it's the matriarch in her family, that's Pluto, that told her to be in control of her public image. So the matriarch in the family was the controller. Now let's move right over here to the moon. You cannot see this because I just put the moon there, but her moon is in 4 Scorpio 56. Call it 5 Scorpio. I just mentioned that Scorpio is the most powerful sign in the zodiac. And those of you who have the sun, the moon, or your ascendant in Scorpio know that if the rest of the world is smart, they're not going to mess with you. Now, you can interact beautifully with Scorpios, but if you mess with them, their motto can be, don't get angry, get even. And isn't that what Stormy is showing us? Don't get angry, get even. Because she has Pluto in her 10th and the moon in Scorpio in her 10th. There are many secrets, many things going on that even though she is being very forthright, very forthcoming, so is her attorney, we're not going to know everything. That's how it is. So where the moon is, that's mommy's message about where to look for your emotional fulfillment, or at least emotional security. It's in her 10th house of her public image. It's in Scorpio, the sign of sex, death, and goods of the dead, the sign of all or nothing. And she is coming forward with all sorts of information. She is a leader, and she's not going away anytime soon. Let's look at her 11th house. She has Uranus in 20 degrees of Scorpio. Now, Uranus in the 11th makes her a disguised Aquarian. Planets in her 10th make her a disguised Capricorn. Uranus in her 11th means that she has very unique friends, and her MO is very rebellious. I think this is exactly what's going on. She marches to her own drummer, that's for sure. Her sun is trine Uranus. Her nodes are doing beautiful things to Uranus, as is her Mars in the 3rd house. And so her uniqueness is alive and well. And she's going to do what she wants, when she wants, her way. Okay, let's move on to the 12th house. She has Neptune in 20 degrees of Sag behind her Sagittarius ascendant. Now, those of you with a Sag, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant know that you will blurt out the truth. She's blurting out the truth. Excuse me, she has been coached, of course, by her attorney, but this is a woman who is telling the truth, who is speaking the truth. All of it, I don't know. Moon in Scorpio. Okay. So, she is a disguised Sag, which means she's going to shoot from the hip. She's going to tell it like it is. And Sag does speak foot in mouth sometimes because she is following, I'm sure, what she was told to say by her attorney who has advised her. We may not see too much foot in mouth. Okay? We may see more truth. Now, Neptune in the 12th. This is, and it is conjunct the ascendant. There's a good deal of make-believe involved with people with Neptune in the 12th, whether they are simply dreamy, idealistic, spiritual. It's in Sagittarius. And so there is a high-mindedness, I have found, with Sagittarian people. And Neptune is wishful thinking on some level, or it can be. Wherever Neptune is where we escape. The 12th house is behind the scenes activities, and it is the spirit plane. And so with Neptune in its own house, because Neptune rules Pisces, which is on the 12th cusp in the natural zodiac, solitude and privacy are necessary in order to offset this powerful, in-your-face 10th house. Let's keep going. Excuse me, we are pollinated in Atlanta. So please excuse me. Venus, the planet of love and beauty and money, is in its own house, traditionally ruled by Taurus, in the 2nd house of money, but it's in Aquarius. And so there is a part of her that, first of all, will garner money. Absolutely, she will be making money. But Venus in Aquarius is a humanitarian. Now, I can hear some of you saying, well, how is what she's doing humanitarian? I don't know. But with those of you who have Venus in Aquarius, know that you know that what's good for the whole is good for the individual. And that Scorpio up here, Pluto in Libra and Moon in Scorpio, will fight for the underdog. And many people feel that that is what she's doing now. You may not. And you know what? You're entitled to your opinion. This is why I'm just reading this neutrally. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I'm not going to share mine with you because it's my opinion. And you don't have to agree with me. It's okay. You're entitled to believe whatever works for you. Okay. So Venus again in the second house, she's making money. And I don't begrudge her that. She's doing what she chooses to do. Would you do it? Would I do it? Probably not. But she's doing it. And Venus in Aquarius is a friend to all. Now look at this packed third house. This is naturally ruled by Gemini, so lots of communication, lots of talking. Oh yeah. And of course, by the end of the year, when she has a Mars return and it's in that third house, there's going to be even more communication from her, whether it's a book or a video, I don't know. And I really don't think this is going to disappear anytime very soon. Doesn't mean it will be front page news, but I don't necessarily see it disappearing based on some of the transits I'm looking at. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm seeing it. All right, let's talk about this. Mars in Pisces, in the third house, 13 degrees of Pisces. Mars in the third shoots from the hip. It tells it like it is. It blurts it out. And in Pisces can involve a certain amount of fantasy, wishful thinking perhaps, and it shoots from the hip. Her south node is in the third house. The south node is what we have mastered in past lives. And so this communication, this sharing of ideas is something she is naturally attracted to because she has mastered it in past lives. Her sun, the center of our life, is in that third house. Oh, we are talking communication, big time. And Mercury, which rules the third house in the natural zodiac, is in Aries. Mercury in Aries talks about itself. And so lots of talking, lots of communicating. This is her moment to shine. Now you might say, well, a lot of her communication was done in adult videos as well. I would agree with that. And now there's even more communication. Let's jump up here to Jupiter right behind the eighth cusp. The eighth cusp is 0 Leo. Jupiter is retrograde in 29 Cancer, right behind that eighth cusp of sex, death, inheritances, secrets, and other people's money. And if I remember correctly, I'm not going to go into her transits today because that can get too complex for people who don't study astrology. This Jupiter is triggered quite nicely during the rest of this, during the next 6 months. So the vertex, our karmic role in life, is in her eighth house of secrets and sex and other people's money. And it is in 10 degrees of Leo. Again, my mind was faster than my mouth. You know, we had an eclipse a couple of months ago in 11 Leo on her vertex in her eighth house of sex and other people's money. Oh yeah, it's been activated. Surprise. Now, finally, her ninth house. This is her higher mind, the big picture. Saturn is traditional, so her thinking is very traditional in many ways. There is a desire to create a structure based around her belief system, and I think she's done that in her career. The should and ought to relatives are represented by Saturn, and what they said is, you should tell the truth. You should be responsible for what you say. And that North Node opens the door for a new form of communication on a larger scale. We have not seen the end of this. Now, what I'm going to do is share information that I got from these two lovely ladies I talked about earlier. Again, thank you, both of you. Because now we have an ascendant and a midheaven for Stormy. My first video on Stormy, rewatch that, because the planets, except for the moon, haven't changed. They're still triggering what they triggered. However, let's look at what Stormy, she's the outer wheel here in blue, triggers in Trump's chart. And I've only put the planets that she triggers by conjunction and, in this case, opposition. I know a lot of people say, well, she's got some lovely trines between his planets and hers, and that's true. My mantra is conjunctions tell the tale. They kick butt. So let's just start here with her midheaven of 11 Libra 33 sitting. Let me get Trump's chart here. Excuse me. Let me just put this up here so I can speak intelligently, because several of you have asked me to include the degrees. So that's why I want to put his chart here. Okay, here we go. Trump's Neptune is idealism about money, maybe a certain amount of wishful thinking and a certain amount of obfuscation. Isn't that a politically correct word? Obfuscation. Her midheaven, her public image, triggers his wishful thinking, his wanting to escape, perhaps, and a certain amount of make-believe. So she is exposing that. Her midheaven is on his Jupiter. He has Jupiter in the second. That's a lot of money. Her midheaven, her public image, is triggering a lot of money in his chart. Now, she wants to get that money. So let's see what else is going on. Her Pluto, control or transformation, sits on Trump's Jupiter. Now that's interesting. Here we go. His Jupiter rules his fifth house of fun, games, and sex. So there you've got the control over his money in relation to sex. It also, Jupiter rules his eighth house of other people's money. So he makes his money through the public, through other people's money, and her Pluto sits on that. There is either a transformation or control or both. Now, her midheaven sits between Neptune and Jupiter, so she is kicking butt when it comes to his money. Moving over here, this is Trump's fourth house, and I've talked about that a great deal when I've looked at his chart before. You might want to go back and replay it. But let me give you a brief synopsis, okay? The fourth house, as you know, maybe you don't, is home, family, and real estate. It's the foundation of our life. Trump's moon is in Sagittarius, where Stormy's ascendant is, so hang in there, we're getting there. Wherever the moon is that's what you're instinctively drawn to, what you're protective of, and what mommy's message is to look to that area for your emotional security. That's his home and his family. This one night stand that he had with Stormy has been the latest in a series of shakeups. And she has got, looking at her chart, with her Pluto and Moon in the 10th, she has staying power, because all of the other women who have come forward, especially the ones in the past, there are something like 13, 14, 15, 16 all told. They're not making the impact that Stormy is making. And that's why I said she's not going away anytime soon. Okay, back here. So, his South Node is in the fourth house. So his home and family are vitally important to him. They fulfill his emotional need for security. And so her Neptune washes things away. Neptune is make-believe. Neptune is smoke. Neptune rules nicotine, alcohol, caffeine. It rules all of our escapes. And Neptune on his South Node either washes away, dissolves his emotional security with his family, number one, or it triggers a certain amount of wishful thinking about what could be in a domestic situation with her. That's the first thing. His Neptune sits on, her Neptune sits on his moon. Again, either dissolving or fantasizing about dissolving what is, fantasizing about what could be. Now, her ascendant, which, as we know, is 26 degrees of Sag, Neptune is 20 of Sag. Her ascendant, that's her personal energy, her personal action, sits on his moon and south node. So her mere presence in his life triggers home, family, real estate. And Neptune is kind of, it's like trying to grab a handful of smoke. It can dissolve what is. I have put opposition marks in this chart comparison because her Neptune and ascendant are in opposition to Trump's 10th house planets. The 10th house is your public image. And whenever we have an opposition, it pulls from what it is opposing. His unpredictability, his spontaneity, his success, and the sun, the center of his life, his public image. Stormy's impact, at first subtle perhaps, but when we bring the ascendant into it, can have serious ramifications on his public image. He's thinking of running again, which I know he is. This could have ramifications. We haven't heard from him in depth about this relationship. So I hope all of this has been helpful to you. Just watch the news. This is part of Trump's presidency, and we want to watch it very carefully because this situation has not happened before, and it's entirely possible that because of Stormy stepping forward, some of those numerous women who came forward earlier to accuse Trump of improprieties, we may hear from them again because she's going pointer on this one. So, very interesting. If I have not yet done your forecast for the coming year, just go to my website. My special is still up there, and I'd be delighted to do it for you. I need your birth data, and I'll do a video, a 30-minute or so video on your forecast for the coming year. So, this is only the latest, friends, in the Stormy Trump drama. So till we meet again, may the stars shine brightly on you and yours.